Is Primetime News live and direct on TV1, coming to you from Studio R here in Colombo 2. I am Ramesh Irugal Bandara.
And I am Zeenat Musafa. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Sajid Premadasa pledges to reconsider international agreements. Sajid Social Revolution Election Manifesto unveiled. Plans to restrict privileges of MPs. 17 parties signed to form the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Alliance. Election Commission warns that strict action will be taken if images of ballot papers are uploaded on social media. Complaint lodged at the National Election Commission against the hindrance caused to land the helicopter carrying Sajid Premadasa. 102 SPs promoted to SSP.
Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, called on the chief prelates this morning.
Sajid Premadasa met with the chief prelate of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect and handed over his manifesto to the Venerable Thera.
අපි වෙනතත් තරක් පරිශීලනය කරලා මොනෑම හෝ කිවිසුමක් වූ වගන්තියක් රටට අගතිකාරී අන්දමේ හානියක් වෙන දෙනවා නම් මම මේ සියල්ලක්ම සංශෝධනය කරන්න සැදීමේදී සිටිනවා. දේශපාලන හෝ වේවා, ආරක්ෂක හෝ වේවා, ආර්ථික හෝ වේවා, සමාජීය හෝ වේවා, විදේශීය රටවල් සමග තිරගන්න සියලුම දේශපාලන අපහු හැරිලා බලන මේ සියල්ලක්ම ඒ සංශෝධනය කරන්න ලැබෙන සියලුම සංශෝධනය කරන්න මම පැකිලුණා. ඒ වගේම එක්සා විසුමක් අසං කරා ඒ කාලවකවානුවේ ඊට පෙර ඒ විසුම පිළිබඳව බරපතල ප්‍රශ්න තිබෙනවා. ඒ නිසා 16 වෙනිදා නිර්මාණය වෙන අලුත් ආරම්භයක්. ඒ අලුත් ආරම්භය තුළ මම බැඳිලා නැහැ. ඔය එක විසුමක්වත් අනුගමනය කරන්න. විසුමක්ම රටට හිතවාදී රටට ධනාත්මක හරාත්මක ගුණාත්මක එකතුවක් වෙනවා නම් පමණයි ඒ වෙන්නේ බැඳී සිටින්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේ පූජනීය ගෞරවනීය මහා සංඝරත්නය ඒ වගේම රටේ ජනතාව ඇති ගැම්මකට කලබලයකට පත්වන කිසිම හේතුවක් නැහැ. මොකද 16 වෙනිදා පස්සේ මේ හැම දෙයක් පිළිබඳව ඉස්පිල්ලක් පාපිල්ලක් නැර මම හොයලා බලනවා.
ඒ විශ්වාසයෙන් ජනතාව පොතේ කරට බාරෝගේ නිතන් ජනතාව ආරක්ෂා කරන්න නිසා
කිසිම දේශීය හෝ අභ්‍යන්තර හෝ විදේශීය පාර්ශ්වකරුවක් මාව පාලනය කරන්නට බැහැ. මම කිසිම කෙනෙක් එක්ක බැඳිලා නැහැ. එක් අයගේ න්‍යාය පත්‍ර ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. තම බැඳීම අපේ රටේ ජනතාවට ඒ වගේම අධි පූජනීය වන්දනීය මහා සංඝරත්නය වහන්සේලාට ඒ වගේම රට තුළ ජීවත් වෙන සියලුම ජන කොටස එක්සේසත් කිරීමයි මගේ මට අපේක්ෂකත්වයේ ගන්නකොට බොහෝ දිනෙක කතා කිව්වා. සමහරෙක් කිව්වා මේ කවදා නොලැබෙන දෙයක් කියලා. තවත් සමහරෙක් කිව්වා කොන්දේසියෙන් හැටක් වෙන්නේ කියලා. නමුත් මම අපේක්ෂකත්වයේ පාරගත්තේ කිසිම කොන්දේසියකට යටත් නොවි කිසිම ප්‍රවාහයකට ආත්මගතයේ පවර දීලා නොවේ. අපේ රට සැබවින්ම ඒකීය ස්වයංී ලංකාව කරන්නට මේක මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ වගන්තියක සඳහන් වුණාට හරියන්නේ නැහැ. රටේ ජීවත් වෙන හැමෝටම මේක හදවතින් එන්නට ඕන මේ රට ඒකීය රටක්, මේ රට ස්වයංී රටක්, මේ රට අපි රැක ගන්නට ඕනේ කියන හැඟීම හැම ජන කොට්ටාසයක් තුළම නිර්මාණය වෙනකොට තමයි මේක තේජස්වන්ත ශක්තිමත් ලංකාව අපේ රට කියන්නේ.
සංගීතගත ගැනීමට පෙර මේ අපේ ආගමික පාර්ශ්වයන්ට සියලු ආගමික පාර්ශ්වයන් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා යම්කිසි අනුමැතියක් ගත යුතුයි කියන තැනට ඉදීමක් කරන්නට අදහස් කළා. ඒක අපි පසුවට ලැබුවා. කෙසේ නමුත් ඒකේ නෛතිකභාවයෙන් ඒක කෙරෙන්න ඕන එවැනි දෙයක් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන පෙරාතුව ඉදිරිපත් කළ යුතුයි කියන කාරණය. සමගම ඔබේ පියතුමා තමයි බුද්ධ ශාසන අමාත්‍යාංශ මුලින්ම ඇති කළේ ආත්මවිශ්වාස ජනාධිපතිතුමා. ඒකේ විශාල කාර්යයක් සිද්ධ වුණා සම්බුද්ධ ශාසනයට. අපි අදහස් කරනවා මේ බුද්ධ ශාසන අමාත්‍යාංශ ජනාධිපති තනතුර යටතේ කවුරු පත් වුණත් ක්‍රියාත්මක කියන කාරණය මම හිතන්නේ වහන්සේ පිටත් කරන පාරායන දෙකම පිළිබඳ කිසිම දෙයක් විශ්වාස කරනවා වහන්සේ විශ්වාස කරන ආකාරයට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයක් අගමැතිවරේ ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් පමණක් විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ගිවිසුම් සම්බන්ධව කටයුතු කරනකොට මේ මණ්ඩලය තුළ පමණක් තීරණ ගැනීම ප්‍රමාණවත් නැහැ කියන තැන මමත් මේ අවස්ථාවේ කැමති ඉතිහාසයෙන් මුචි උදාහරණයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. මේ 87 සමයේ ඒකට ජනාධිපතිතුමා එකමනේ හිටියා. ඒකට අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා මගේ පියාණන් අවබෝධය හිටියා. එදා මගේ පියාණන් විදේශීය ගලදෙනු පිළිබඳ ඊටම කිසිම පාර්ශ්වයක ගෞරවනීය මහා සංඝරත්නය ඉදන්නේ ඒ වෙන කිසිම චකිතයක් ඇති කරගන්නට හේතුව.
Minister Sajid Premadasa then visited the Malwathu Mahaviharaya this morning and explained his manifesto to the chief prelate of the Malwathu chapter of the Siam sect. Subsequently, Sajid Premadasa presented his manifesto to the Anunayaka of the Malwathu chapter, Most Venerable Dimbul Kumure Vimala Dhammathera. Sajid Premadasa then visited the Manikin Hurikaduwa Vidyasagara Pirivena and called on the chief prelate of the Ramanya sect, Most Venerable Napane Premasiri Thera, and explained his manifesto.
Following his meeting with the chief prelates, presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa unveiled his manifesto to the general public in Kandy today.
The manifesto titled Sajit's Social Revolution was launched at the Queen's Hotel in Kandy today. The attendees at the event included the Mahasangha, religious leaders, leaders of political parties and members of the general public. The manifesto was first presented to the Mahasangha and religious leaders. The manifesto was then handed over to leaders of political parties. Presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa, School for All, Universal Higher Education, Universal Healthcare, Accountable Leadership, Zero Tolerance on Drugs and Corruption, Zero Tolerance on Religious Extremism and Violence, a tough and smart national security system, dignity for the public sector, government for the people, financial markets, inspiring women, empowering small businesses, empowering the farmer, environment and energy, encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation, a market-ready youth population, appreciation of migrant workers, and public transport. The manifesto also includes the establishment of a court dedicated for drug-related offences and to increase the punishment for such offences. Money laundering will be made an offence under the Bribery Act. Sajid Premadasa assures that war will be waged against religious extremism and a democratic and multi-ethnic society will be developed. His policy states that Sri Lanka needs a new constitution and adds that this should be approved by the people of the country through a referendum. The manifesto proposes that the state sector will be reformed and modernized. The foreign policy will be based on the theme Sri Lanka First. Sajid Premadasa states that the fundamentals of national security will be developed and this will be done by experts in the field. He states that a National Security Council will be established to decide on issues of national security. The manifesto proposes the creation of a new position of National Security Advisor. According to the national security policy, the state intelligence institutions, the police, the security forces and the civil security force will be modernized along with the fundamentals of national security, and adds that the national security budget will be strengthened. The police department will be modernized to respond to an emergency call within 20 minutes. Sajid Premadasa hopes to establish a centralized intelligence network both here in Sri Lanka and overseas.
I give you an assurance that we will create a country that is sovereign and protect the territorial integrity and political independence of the nation. We will give prominence to the Buddha Sasana and protect other religions and create a country where sovereignty is vested with the people. We will bring about an era that not only gives prominence to the development of civil, economic and human rights but also economic, social as well as cultural rights. A just society will be created based on the Dasaraj Dharma. We will never forget our local roots and culture when working with the international community.
Presenting facts under responsible leadership, Sajid Premadasa states that he will discontinue the duty-free vehicle permits issued to all 225 members of parliament. The manifesto also states that a multi-party committee will assess the perks and privileges of parliamentarians. He also assures that the salary and pension anomalies of military servicemen will be solved. Sajid Premadasa, who announced an array of concessions for small and medium-scale businessmen, also states that tax concessions will be given to provide ease in conducting their businesses. Thereby, the lower limit on which value-added tax is imposed on will be increased from 12 million to 50 million per year. It has also been proposed that these businesses should earn an income of 4 million rupees per month to be subject to this tax. Sajid Premadasa also states that a special economic zone will be established in every district. He states that local development banks will be established to provide long-term loans for these projects. Sajid Premadasa's manifesto also states that people on the crib for defaulting a loan below 1 million rupees before 2019 will be taken off the list for a period of 1 year. He also pledges to reduce indirect taxes to 60% and strengthen direct taxes to establish a just tax scheme. He adds that withholding tax and other taxes will be simplified. The manifesto also includes a proposal to increase the lower limit of payee tax from 100,000 rupees to 150,000 rupees. It also proposes a reduction in VAT from 15% to 12.5%. The manifesto states that the age of retirement for both state and private sectors will be increased by 3 years. It also proposes a 300,000 rupee loan to be provided to drivers of rented vehicles and three-wheeler drivers for vocational training. Sajid Premadasa proposes a control price of 50 rupees per kilo of paddy. He added that agricultural colleges will be established in all plantation districts in the country. The manifesto states that import of pepper and other low-quality spices that are re-exported under the name of Sri Lanka Spices will be banned. The main contractors of construction projects will be exempted from the nation-building tax. All citizens above the age of 35 will be given the opportunity to undertake a medical examination for free every year.
The Memorandum of Understanding to establish the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Alliance was signed at the Foundation Institute in Colombo today. The event was chaired by presidential candidate of the SLPP, Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
17 parties, including the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, attended this event. The parties that signed the Memorandum of Understanding include the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the Mahajana Eksat Peramuna, the Sri Lanka Communist Party, the Lanka Samasamaja Party, the Democratic Left Front, National Freedom Front and the Pivituru Hela Urumaya. The Ceylon Workers' Congress, the Elam People's Democratic Party, the National Congress, Sri Lanka Mahajana Party, the Desha Vimukti Janata Party, Tamil Mahajana Vimukti Alliance, the Eksat Mahajana Peramuna, the Vijayadharani Jatika Sabhava and the Mutpokku Tamilar Kachi are the other member parties of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Podujana Alliance. The aim of establishing the new alliance is to ensure the victory of Gotabaya Rajapaksa and to embark on a journey with one political vision at the upcoming elections. After the MOU was signed, an oath was taken to follow one policy.
සතුටින් සිටිය හැකි නව ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය රාජ්‍ය නිර්මාණය කිරීමට
තුමේ සන්ධානය දකුණ
I think we can call this the largest alliance established with representation from all areas, including the south, the north, the east, and the hill country. All these parties have united for one aim. All of these parties love our country. Today, we have before us a massive challenge. The sovereignty of our country, the unitary status, and the security of our country has broken down. We banded together today to uplift the economy of the country, protect democracy, establish the rule of law, give the people a better life, and to create a prosperous country after eradicating poverty and bridging the gap between classes of people in our country. We can overcome this challenge. We have always overcome the challenges that we accepted. Today, we have united based on the manifesto that was presented recently. We have presented practical programs to achieve the policies presented in our manifesto. I hope that all of these parties will support me after my victory to fulfill these promises that were made to the general public. We know that the support received in Parliament is very important. The support received from the provincial councils and the local governments are also important. We will be contesting from this alliance in all the upcoming elections to get this support that is required. We have created this alliance to face the people. Through this alliance, we will be able to establish strong provincial councils, local governments, and to establish a strong government inside Parliament. No matter the differences we might have as separate parties, we have united to achieve one goal. I request that we all work together to win this election and achieve that goal.
ඒ අරමුණ ඉටු කර ගැනීමට සියලු දෙනාම එක්ව මේ ජනාධිපතිවරණය ජය ගන්නට වැඩ කරමු කියන ඉල්ලීම මම කරනවා.
In more local news, staying in the same political camp, the Urban Representatives Conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held in Colombo today.
The event was held in Gunasinghapura, Colombo under the auspices of the leader of the SLPP, Mahinda Rajapaksa. A large group, including stalwarts of the party, had attended the event. They did not say anything when prices of goods were increased. They voted in favor of it and gave approval. At present, they get on stage and say prices of goods should be reduced. They have the ability to reduce prices even now because it is still their government. They speak against such a backdrop. We cannot accept the promises they make while speaking as if they are in the opposition. They did not fulfill their duties when they were in power.
The April 21st attack has once again become a topic of discussion on the election platform. Let's take a look at some of the views expressed by politicians in this regard.
We want to safeguard our country. We want Buddhists, Catholics, Hindus and Muslims to live peacefully as one. We are against terrorism. Let us all come together and eradicate terrorism and extremism from the country.
Sajid Premadasa!
Who will be protected if Sajid Premadasa wins? Terrorism nurtured by Bathiuddin and Hakim will be protected. The harmful agenda Sumandiran has for the country will be implemented. As usual, one of the tactics of elections is to get hold of a Muslim leader or to get hold of a Tamil leader. They create stories such as nurturing terrorism. We were always against extremism in the country. Who do you think of on the 21st of April? What you initially thought was that Mahinda Rajapaksa was not there to safeguard the country. Then you remembered that Gotabaya was not the defense secretary. It was your request to bring Gotabaya Rajapaksa back.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa metuma nevata geenna kiyala.
It is the hunters who carry the prey on their back and shout, saying that they have been attacked. The hunters itself say that they need Gotabaya Rajapaksa back. We don't need them. It was Sarath Fonseca who ended the war under Sajid Premadasa's leadership. We can make him the Minister of Defence to protect the country.
The topic of women's sanitation was also discussed on the political arena today.
Presidential candidate of the United National Front will go to the people as padman. Have you heard about these types of things before?
දෙයි හාමුදුරුවනේ මේවා අහලා තියෙනවද කිසි දවසක? ඊයේ ගෙදර රූපවාහිනිය බලන් ඉන්නකොට ගෙදර නෝනායි මහත්තයයි දරුවෝ ටික පැඩ්මෑන් කතා කරනකොට අම්මයි තාත්තයි නැගිටලා යනවා. ඉන්න බෑ හිරිකිතේ ලැජ්ජාවේ. ගෙදර
Sajit is trying to buy things even the husbands won't buy for wives.
නක් දෙන්න හදනවා ගෙදර නෝනට. මෙහෙම බහන්ඩයක් හම්බුන්නේ අපේ ජීවිතේටම.
Certain men who brought YouTube to the #1 place in the 21st century are now making fun of Sajid Premadasa for talking about women's sanitation. If there are men who have a problem with the sanitary pad or makes fun of it, they didn't come from the wombs of their mothers.
මේ රටේ ඉන්නවනම් පිරිමි ඒ අය අම්මලාගේ ගර්භාෂවල හැදිච්ච අය නෙවෙයි.
රට ඉල්ලන්නේ ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව.
The country is asking for national security, but Putano is trying to give sanitation. That's the national issue of the women in the country. Did the First Lady give this idea? Once his government was appointed, the tax on the sanitary napkins were increased. The prices were increased.
මේගොල්ලෝ ආවට පස්සේ මේ සනීප ආරක්ෂක තුවාවල බදු වැඩි කළා. බදුත් ගහලා සනීප ආරක්ෂක තුවාවේ මිලත් නගලා දැන් කිඹුල් කඳුළු හෙලනවා මං ආවම දෙනවා සනීප ආරක්ෂක තුවා නොමිලේ කියනවා.
ඒක ඊටාම කාලෝචිත.
This is a very timely and a sensitive proposal. It is wrong to laugh at Sajid Premadasa for presenting this idea. He made a statement that is not usually made in public, but Vimal Veeravansa and the rest are laughing at him. Why?
ඒකයි යා බයින්නේ ඒක.
Casting of postal votes for the 2019 presidential election commenced this morning. Allocations have been made for registered postal voters to cast their vote today and tomorrow between 8:30 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. at their respective workplaces.
The total number of registered postal voters for this year's election is 659,514. The National Election Commission stated that all public officials except the police, election officers and district secretariats will have the opportunity to cast their votes today and tomorrow. Our correspondent said the casting of postal votes, which commenced at 8:30 this morning, concluded at 4:15 p.m, adding that it was conducted in a peaceful manner. Officials attached to police, election officers and divisional secretariats will be allowed to cast their postal votes on the 4th and 5th of November. Those who are unable to cast their votes on the aforementioned days will be given the opportunity to cast their vote on the 7th of November at the respective divisional secretariat to which their workplace is attached to. The PAFL organization said around 1,000 observers have been assigned to monitor the casting of postal votes. The CAFE organization has assigned 200 observers. The National Election Monitoring Centre said around 500 mobile observers have been assigned to monitor postal votes. According to the media spokesperson of police, a special security plan has been set in place until the casting of postal votes ends. The media spokesperson of
Welcome back to the news. On to more local news now. The National Elections Commission convened a media briefing today.
Postal votes were cast today. What's saddening is how certain people take photographs and share on Facebook. It is illegal. It has to be stopped completely. If we find out who did it, we will send the officer to jail for at least 3 years. If this continues, even the ballot paper will be shared on Facebook.
බැලට් පේපර් එකේ දිග. මේක තමයි අපේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් කියුබිකල් එක. දැන් සමහරව ආන මේක දිග නිසා කියුබිකල් එක දික් කරන්න කියලා. කියුබිකල් එක දික් කරොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? අර ඉස්කෝලවල ඩෙස්ක් එකේ මේස උඩ තියන්න බෑ. දැන් මේක බැලට් පේපර් එකේ තියන්න බෑ. බැලට් පේපර් එක තියන්න වෙන්නේ මේම. මේක දිගේ විකරණයට තියලා තමයි ඡන්දදායකයට මේක ලකුණු කරන්න වෙන්නේ. ඡන්ද පෙට්ටි මාරු කරනවා කියන එක මිත්‍යාවක්. ලොකු ප්‍රචාරයක්.
Most countries use cardboard boxes. 5 copies are pasted with the signatures of the officers. Change in ballot boxes is a myth. There are rumors that more than 1 million of ballot boxes are printed. There is no room for fraud. Rumors about change in ballot boxes and change in numbers are a myth. We extended the time given to cast the vote. People living in areas like Kurunegala, North, Anuradhapura, Matale, Monaragala and Ampara, where there are wild elephant threats, will be given the protection by the Wildlife Department and the police. The transportation of ballot boxes will be given security. The officers will also be safeguarded.
චන්දපෙට්ටිය අරන් එන එක අපිට ගේන්න පුළුවන්. අපි වනජීවි දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ පොලිසිය සහාය ඇතිව අපේ චන්දපෙට්ටිය ගේන්න ආරක්ෂාව විතරක් නෙවෙයි නිලධාරීන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව ගැන බලමු. ඊයේ බරපතල සිද්ධියක් වුණා කරුණාකර නගරෙම ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිසිටි කට් ඔෆ් කරලා දුන්නා. සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහතාට දුකරක ලෑන්ඩ් කරන්න බැරුව එයා අපෝ ගියා ප්‍රශ්න තිබ්බේ නැහැ. මේක බරපතල සිද්ධියක්. මේ වගේ කම්ප්ලේන්ට් එකක් ඔබතුමාට આવුත් මොකද ඔබතුමාට වටිල ඉලෙක්ෂන් කමිෂන් ගන්න පුළුවන් ඇක්ෂන්.
I have not received a complaint yet. If someone lodges a complaint, I will start an investigation. If this was intentional, this was a third grade act. But I don't think a political party would do something like that.
Minister Navin Disanayake declared open several UMP offices in Thamuttegama this morning.
මේ පොඩි සාකච්ඡාවක් මතක් වුණා මගේ අපච්චිත් එක්ක 1994 දවස් දෙකකට ඉස්සෙල්ලා එතුමා නැති වෙන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා.
I remember a small discussion I had with my late father in 1994, 2 days before he died. I asked my father why he made such a decision in a rush. I told him he was only 52 years old and that he can wait for another 6 years. I told him that eventually this position will come to you. My father then said, "No son, I cannot wait like that. I must serve the people and the country while I am strong." As I recall this story, I remember Sajid Premadasa today. Sajid Premadasa understands the pain of everyone and he must go forward shouldering this burden. Sajid Premadasa is also 52 years old. Even Sajid can stay for another 6 years, but he did not do that.
Presidential candidate of the National People's Party, General Mahesh Senanayake, was in Jaffna today on the campaign trail.
General Senanayake met with people at the Jaffna town this morning and distributed handbills.
මේ රටේ ජාතීන් උතුරේ සහ දකුණේ ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා ඉදිරියේදී මේ රටේ එකම පවුලක් හැටියට ගත කරන්න අවශ්‍යතාවය තමයි මේලා වෙතිබෙන්නේ.
The need of the hour is for unity among all in the north as well as the south. We are doing something that none of the other presidential candidates will be able to do. We are among the people to inform them. We have come forward for unity and development and be relieved of this burden that we have endured for 71 years. We are in the Jaffna town today to educate these people. Join us. We are doing this to ensure that the generation to come will be able to live with peace and harmony. There is land that has not been released. We hope to ensure that the lands are released and the people are protected. We will also develop the infrastructure, health and the transport sector. We will provide what is required for agriculture. We will re-establish the agro-economy and uplift Jaffna.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Socialist Party, Dr. Ajantha Pereira, convened a media briefing today.
The country and the people are burdened by debt. To resolve this debt issue, they obtained more loans. The biggest issue is that people do not have a way of living because the cost of living is high. I have lived in foreign countries for 22 years. I have never come across a country that has higher food prices like in Sri Lanka. How can the people of this country make their ends meet? The leaders are trying to distribute packets of rice and obtain votes. Some officers were promoted on the day of the postal voting. The chairman of the Election Commission must look into this.
මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස්තුමා සොයා බැලිය යුතුයි.
On to more local news now. The Finance Ministry issuing a media release says the MCC agreement drafted with the consent of the Attorney General will be presented in Parliament.
The media release further states the whole process and the final agreements with regard to the MCC compact were done under the guidance of the Attorney General and well within the legal framework. It adds the Attorney General is of the opinion that the agreements are in order and there exists no legal impediment to execute the same. The release says the compact agreement and the program implementation agreement will be submitted to and enacted by the Parliament of Sri Lanka once it is signed and before its entry into force, and will be published in the Government Gazette before being submitted to Parliament.
The Cabinet of Ministers should be ashamed that they passed such an agreement. The Parliament should know the true contents of the agreement and not look out for interests of other countries, but look out for our own interests.
Meanwhile, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka urges the government not to proceed with the proposed MCC agreement, whatever compelling short-term economic reasons there may be. Issuing a release, the Bar Association says, quote, It is our belief that the draft proposals should be made available for democratic debate before committing the country to honour an agreement which only a privileged few have been privy, end quote. The BASL further states that as a responsible organisation, they took a lot of time to study the proposed MCC and submitted a detailed report outlining the grave consequences Sri Lanka would face as an independent and sovereign state in the event the government of Sri Lanka proceeded to sign the MCC in that form.
Joining our Newsline program earlier today, former Auditor General Sarath Mayadune expressed the following views.
If someone gets more than 50%, that means 50 plus 1, he will be declared as the president.
Right.
Immediate. If it is not so, section 57 will be applied. There are two rounds. First round, they will go for the first count and take the two leading candidates. That means the highest and the second highest. Then all other 33 will be put in a other basket, right? Then that basket, that means the
second basket,
the rejectors basket.
Yeah.
They will take out one by one.
Yeah.
And see how they have marked their preference. This is very crucial and important, as that will be the deciding factor. There, if someone, the number one is given to that people, that basket, therefore their second and third preferences will be taken into account. Say, someone has marked second one to a very same person in that basket, that means the rejected basket. In such a case, they take his third preference. And if it is in favor of A or B, it will be added to that A or B as it is marked so. If that particular voter has marked his second preference either to A or B, that also will be added to the person that is A or B.
Right.
Therefore, their totals only will go up and it will be taken as a solid vote, just like a direct vote. Therefore, the benefit that provides under this Manapaya preferential system is when I want to vote for a person who is not winning, but I prefer that person though he does not win.
Yeah.
Therefore, my vote is counted in favor of that lost man.
Okay.
And under his total, my vote is shown.
As your first choice, that's perhaps the choice of your heart. But with this system, you can actually play a role with your mind, and you choose with your mind you want, well, I know my guy is not going to win, but I'm going to put it in there. But two, I'm going to choose that person as my second choice.
Yeah, winning candidate.
The winning candidate. So I choose somebody who I perceive is going to win.
This has to be understood very clearly. If you do it in a wrong way, it will be an invalid vote. That means if you mark two or more than one crosses, then it will be an invalid, that means rejected vote.
Okay.
Therefore, you have to mark the best way to mark 1, 2 and 3. That is the formal way.
102 superintendents of police have been promoted to the rank of SSP or Senior Superintendent of Police. The promotions were awarded with the approval of the Police Commission and the Elections Commission, given that it is an election season. The promotions were awarded to 87 SPs. 14 superintendents of police attached to the Special Task Force received these promotions as well. Additionally,
Twitter rival Facebook faced growing pressure to stop selling ads that spread inaccurate information. Twitter's ban takes effect starting November 22nd.
Time now for today's sports roundup.
Sri Lanka's high jumping sensation Manjula Kumara yesterday officially announced his retirement from the field. Manjula Kumara holds the national record for high jump, advanced to the top 16 stage with a game still to play against Angola.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News. For more news, you can log on to our award-winning website, www.Newsfirst.lk. On behalf of the Newsfirst team, I'm Zinat Musafir.
And I'm Ravi Shugal Bandara. Good night.